Want to move on to another issue real quick. My guest will be Senator Ted Cruz. UN has now gone for guns. This has been a worry of many conservatives, many advocates of the Constitution for quite some time. 3 countries did not sign on to this. In fact, voted against this. And I said, not surprisingly, at least they're being blunt, saying, no, we're not going to abide by this. We're not going to be a part of this. And they decided, and those are countries that we've had, obviously, issues with. One would be Syria. We also have North Korea that was as well a part of this. And they said, and finally, Iran said no to this. Here's my issue with it. We've got arms trade with Taiwan, South Korea, and Israel specifically that need our stuff. There are things in this UN that would, I believe, make it a lot harder for us to do what we need to do to back our allies. And the other issue is you've got places like Russia that I don't believe would ever abide by these rules anyway.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's the standard pattern at the United Nations, where we often find ourselves in agreements that hurt us and our friends far more than they impact the bad actors on the world stage. The UN Small Arms Treaty, in my view, must be defeated. I have long said that I will publicly and vigorously lead the fight against it and do everything I can to make sure the Senate does not allow it to go into effect. It combines 2 things that I think are very, very dangerous. Number 1, a direct threat to our Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And number 2, an ongoing threat to our sovereignty. That there has been a pattern for a long time of giving up U.S. sovereignty to the United Nations, to foreign courts, to foreign laws. And that is a pattern that the Obama administration has accelerated. And I think it is very troublesome. I have spent much of my professional life fighting to defend U.S. sovereignty, and I intend to continue leading that fight in the U.S. Senate.
Is there going to be a real chance that the Obama administration could get the votes to do something when it comes to limiting guns? How is that looking right now? We've seen the assault rifles ban. We've heard that it's dead. Then we hear other liberals say, no, it's not dead. We're going to change it a little bit. We're going to work on this. What is it looking right now in Washington for people that are listening? They're concerned about, there could be that last minute quick, all of a sudden, bam, before you know it, a lot like Connecticut did yesterday, ram it down people's throats and pass something that could limit the right for us to own the guns that we want to own. Yeah.
Well, certainly if the Democrats have their way, that they would readily pass laws restricting our constitutional rights to keep and bear arms. My view is very simple, that we should be devoting our time, our energy, our resources to deterring and punishing violent criminals. And we should not be restricting the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. Unfortunately, you've got a lot of Democrat politicians in Washington who have been trying to take advantage of this horrific tragedy that happened in Sandy Hook and using it to push an agenda that doesn't target violent criminals, but that goes after the rights of law-abiding citizens. Let's take, for example, the piece that they are focusing most of their energy on, what they call universal background checks. Now, there's already a background check system in place. If you or I go to a federally licensed firearm dealer, we have to go through a background check. That's been in place for many years. What they want to do, though, is they want to have the government regulate every private transaction between private individuals. So if you and I go duck hunting and we're sitting there in the duck blind and you look over at the shotgun and say, hey, that's a really good-looking gun. I'd love to buy that from you. And I sell that gun to you. They want to have us go first to the federal government and go through a background check. The biggest problem with that, Ben, is the Justice Department said in order for that to work, the only way for it to work would be for the federal government to create a registry, a government list of every firearm owned by every person in the United States. And I think a federal gun registry raises grave Second Amendment issues because historically and globally, over and over again, gun registries have been the predicate for taxation and for confiscation of firearms.